Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a team that you can build right now with the current event spawns. We have the NiRiain in the lead here. It's going to be the shadow version because I don't have the normal version. I'm not going to build it just for this video. But you can find the normal version in the wild right now, which is definitely still very good. It doesn't need any elite TM moves. Unlike this Warren here, which has the elite fast TM that you can use on this thing with the powder snow, and you need the elite charge TM for the icicle spear. Both of them are legacy moves. The earthquake is a normal move, but you also get 2 elite TMs from the current research, so I don't think that's really yeah, I don't know, like it's definitely worth it to go for Warren. In my opinion, it's the best choice to use those elite TMs anyway, at least at the current time. I don't know if it's gonna get like debuffed in future seasons, but right now it's one of the best Pokemon in the meta. So we have here also the Scrafty in the back. Scrafty is currently also spawning in the wild, which is something that you really want to go for, as you can finally get good PvP IVs. Good PvP IVs are usually for Great League something like 0 attack, 15 defense, 15 HP, somewhere around there. There are several IV checkers for this online, so like you should be fine. As my pawn swaps into a Bastiodon here, very interesting swap. Catching the Poison Fang also makes him weak to this Earth Power now, because otherwise Earth Power wouldn't KO instantly, but this will. But if they are going to shield this up, we are going to swap out here into our Scrafty, farming them down and having a good advantage here. But yeah, this team looks very decent, as we have something as a safe swap with the Warren, which is going to get out potential fighting types while still having neutral moves to fight back. Or in general also get out like something like a Registeel or Steel types. It's a pretty decent team in general. It might be there might be better options, but this was basically the best team that I could build with the Pokemon that are currently available in the wild and that are not XL. Like, you couldn't of course do something with the Medicham, which is currently available in the wild as well, but it's kind of difficult for a lot of people to still get the XL candy and power this up. It's very expensive, so I will try to win for a team that's pretty accessible. As we find here the opponent going for foul play, which is fine for us, as we can go for 2 Icicle Spear and we can KO the Sableye. This should be a good game already, like even if a return would not KO us from this range, as the normal Warren is way bulkier than the Shadow Warren. I still like the Shadow Warren more, but because of the video where we cannot try to use the Pokemon are currently in the wild, I'm going to try to use the normal version here. Normal version is also fine because you also gonna take less damage from stuff like Trevenant here, which also going to take some damage still from you. Like, this matchup is actually better than normal version, as you can see here, as we can farm this thing down, realign our Pokemon, especially as we see a Registeel coming in. This is amazing for us, as we can still go for one big Earthquake here. And we can go ahead and go for even one more Icicle Spear, which is going to be nice because, yeah, like this thing going to be in the right health now. We are actually going to swap now into, okay, we're going to swap now into the Scrafty here, because we can just go for Power Punch, and Power Punch Scrafty wins against Swampert, especially Shadow Swampert, easily in the 2-shot scenario. There's nothing that they can do here. And this will also be a pretty easy game, I think, as I think there's at least nothing that they can do here. But I was kinda wrong, because they spam me with so many moves that they can actually swap out after this charge move already, that it's kinda tricky, especially because we lag here. I don't know if my opponent forced this, because you can force this, and I think my opponent might have done this. You can force a 5-second lag after a charge move if you do a certain technique, which I'm not gonna further explain here. It's still a thing, but it's only 5 seconds. It was 10 seconds prior, and I guess my opponent maybe had done this to try to win this game here. But yeah, that was kinda weird that we lag exactly at this point. We see a mediocre lead. I hate this lead, to be honest. I hate facing mirror lead against Nidoqueen. Always if I go for Earth Power, they shield. Always if I shield, they go for Poison Fang. It is never going into my favor, so I'm going to swap out here, and this was a mistake, as we see Deoxys Defense here, which is actually kinda a core breaker for this team, to be honest. Deoxys Defense can counter the backline here. Both Pokemon in the back are weak to counter, but also my lead is weak to Psycho Boost, so it's kinda tricky. As we're going to go ahead, shield this up, and I think we should be able to KO this thing with one more Icicle Spear. This thing comes through. Does it KO the opponent's Deoxys Defense? It doesn't. It doesn't by 1 HP in a Dream, which now means we cannot realign, because I'm not gonna go 2 shields down here. And this looks pretty tough, to be honest, especially as the Nidoqueen comes back in, and they have a lot of energy here. And they can just go ahead and go for 2 Earth Powers before I even get to 1 Earth Power, which means this game is over. I am not going to play this out. Good game to my opponent. sometimes it's a little bit tough, but yeah. We see a Registeel here in the lead, that's very good for our team in general. Still actually a very awkward scenario here. We're going to go for the Poison Fang. This is gonna allow us to go for the Earth Power afterwards, which will KO. They didn't shield here. Good no shield from the opponent. Still is fine for us as we see the Focus Blast coming through. We can go for one Earth Power now. This Earth Power does KO now, otherwise it wouldn't KO, so it's not the worst play to go for Poison Fang, as you can see here. As we see a Stunfisk coming in. I don't know what my opponent gonna do against Fighting type Pokemon. We will find out later. Hopefully they don't have a Charm user on the back, because this might be a little bit tricky for our Pokemon in the back with the Scrafty, which is double weak to Charm. We go for an Icicle Spear. They just don't want to shield here today, I guess. I'm going to shield this move up because I have so much energy. We see the Rock Slide coming through. We can go ahead and go for the Earthquake. Do they want to shield this? Do they want to let this move go through? We have to see. They want to let this move go through, and we see an Altaria in the back. Very good for us as we can go get the shield from the opponent, go into our Nidoqueen, try to pressure him with the Poison Fang, and we should be able to pretty easily win this game here. The cool thing about this team, by the way, as well, is you have two ways to either debuff the opponent or boost yourself. With the Poison Fang on the Nidoqueen, which are going to, of course, debuff the opponent's defense 100% by one stage. And you have the Scrafty here, which is also pretty decent, as it can boost itself up by one stage. Yet a lot of times you see a scenario when I played this team where I was against the final Pokemon and I had still my Nidoqueen available and still my Scrafty available, and I was just able to go for a Poison Fang, debuff them, and go for my own Power Punch to boost myself, and it just wraps up after a while. As we see a very neutral lead actually against Trevenant, but I always swap out immediately because I just have an ABB line here. ABB line means if you have a neutral lead, you should swap out still into your save swap to bait out the potential counter against the Pokemon in the back, which in this case will be the Ninetales. Ninetales is definitely a tough Pokemon to deal with for my Scrafty, but because they move, I let this move go through, and I don't want to get hit by Weatherbull Ice on my lead, I'm going to go ahead and go into my Scrafty here against the Charm user. And this actually works out way better as they have two Weatherbull Ice. I can just let the moves go through, and I'm going to be able to farm this thing down before they even can hit me with one Charm. We see the Azumarill coming in, and this is going to be very tough, to be honest. We have to see how we can still deal with this. We see the Ice Beam coming through. We have to overfarm a lot because I'm kind of scared that they go into the Trevenant. We go for the big Poison Fang here, as this is going to do some nice damage. We should be able to get a shield here, hopefully. We have to see. We actually KO the Azumarill, which is amazing for us because we still have our Scrafty in the back. We can let this move go through, but we're actually going to shield the Seed Bomb because I'm going to try to get as much damage on this thing just with Poison Jab alone, as you can see here. We can go for the Power Punch, and here's the scenario, which I mean, I can debuff the opponent's defense, I can boost myself up, and I can just farm it down even though the counter is double resisted by the Ghost typing. It doesn't matter if you boost yourself and debuff the opponent, as we face a pretty decent lead for us, which is the Obstagoon here. We're going to try to bait the Earth Power, but of course, I'm not able to play Nidoqueen perfectly. I guess I should never really play Nidoqueen anymore, as they are not going to shield this up, and they are still having to shield this Poison Fang though, and we are still in a decent position here. This Poison Fang gonna get the final shield by my opponent. I think he is in range for 5 Poison Jabs because he's double debuffed, and we will see we can perfectly farm him all the way down. We have a lot of energy, and we're going to go for one Icicle Spear. We cannot swap out because we have the Warren as the only answers now available for the Altaria. So we have to stay into our Warren. We see the Swampert coming in, and we can basically completely destroy this thing now with our Scrafty. And I don't think there's a way that they can break through the Scrafty and the Warren core. This should be pretty easily winnable for us, especially as we get this thing low. I, of course, can let this move go through because he's already in range for the Weather Ball, the Icicle Spear, but I'm actually still going to shield this up because they had to throw the move anyway, then it wouldn't have mattered. For me, now I can just get some more counter damage on this thing, and I can go ahead and try to swap out there. It didn't work out, doesn't really matter. We are the normal version, which means we can easily tank 2 Sky attacks. This is like the benefit of having no Shadow version here. Shadow version, of course, gets 20% more damage against it, and we will see the opponent just forfeiting here, I guess. That took a long time. As we see the next opponent, we see Skarmory in the lead, horrible lead for us. We swap out into Warrain, which is not really the best. Skarmory is still a very horrible scenario for us, and they get the fast move through there. Very bad timing on my part, as we see here that my opponent going to go for one move. It's going to be the Brave Bird, amazing for us that we can shield this. As we see the Warrain coming in, we go straight for the Earthquake. We are not playing around here. As are they going to let this move go through? I know now that I'm going to be able to survive this Earthquake as well, so I'm going to let this move go through as well. Going to be the Earthquake. I can farm up to 2 Icicle Spears, which I hopefully can use later on against the Skarmory. As we see here, them going for another Earthquake. As we're already getting lower, we can farm this thing down, and we see again, most likely, yeah, we see the Skarmory coming in. We go for the Power Punch here, trying to get the shield bait, and we don't, as we go for... I guess I could have went for Power Punch here, but this will mostly get shielded. No, never mind, we can KO this thing. We see the Swampert coming in here. It's going to be very close, actually. I don't think we can win this still. But we have to see, as we can go ahead, go for one Poison Jab, Poison Fang here. This is going to get the shield from my opponent most likely, because he's getting lower. And I have 2 moves stored here. Can this, like, does this KO already? Did I have to stay in for longer? I think I had to, because this does not KO by 1 HP in a Dream. They can farm me down and they can get to a move here. If I just stayed in for a little bit more with the Nidoqueen, I would have put him into range where I could KO him. So that's kind of a problem on my part. I could have won this game, I think, if I played it better, but this was on me. As we see a Sableye coming in here, and this matchup is actually a matchup that I hate to play. I don't like the matchups crafted against Sableye, because even though their fast move is resisted, ours also resisted, and they have to go for return. But if they bait me, it's going to be tough. But even if they don't bait me, it's going to be tough, because I have to go for the foul play now. I hope that they let this move go through, because I have to realign, and they let this move go through, which is amazing for us, because now we can go ahead, go for one Power Punch against this Azumarill. They still have to go for some charge moves against me, and the thing is now, they can just go ahead and they can farm up a lot of energy. Azumarill has access to Ice Beam, of course, which is going to be a little bit of a problem for our Nidoqueen, especially the Shadow version doesn't really want to face it. So what we're gonna do here now is we go into Nidoqueen, go for one fast move and swap. And like this, we're going to catch the double resisted Ice Beam on our Warrain. We still have the Earthquake here, which is going to do some very nice damage if they want to let this move go through. And this gives us a way better chance of winning this game, especially as we have now like even shields. We're going to let this move go through as well from the opponent. It's going to be a Hydro Pump. It's going to be resisted, and we can go for another Earthquake here, as this would KO my opponent. Let's see what they have in the back. Do they let this go through? They do, and we see a Skarmory in the back. That's kind of horrible, to be honest. We're going to go ahead and go for one Poison Fang here real quick. As this is going to get the debuff, they're going to let this move go through, but we do more damage now with our fast moves, and we can go ahead and go for one big Earth Power here, doing some nice damage, even though it's still resisted. You see how low this thing gets, and we're actually going to shield this up as well, I think. No, we're gonna let this move go through, but we can just farm this thing all the way down now with our powders. No, they cannot get to 3 moves in total, so this is going to be a good game here, as they can get farmed down. Next opponent, horrible lead for us. We have the Swampert there, as we see a Crustle Say Swap. What is this there? Like, Crustle against us here. That's insane, as we can go ahead, go for one Icicle Spear, at least get one shield here, and this is all that I'm gonna get here, because of course the smackdown of Crustle going to be way too much for me to handle. They go ahead, go for one X-Scissor here most likely, which will KO me, but I can go into my Nidoqueen and I resist all the moves that they can throw at me. So I can just get so much energy here that I will be able to get to an Earth Power later on against the Swampert coming in, which is going to be very nice, as this Swampert definitely doesn't want to get Earth Powered by a Nidoqueen. And then I still have my Scrafty in the back, which now can swap in here. We see the Noctowl coming in. We can go for one Power Punch, and we can try to KO this Noctowl now with our Scrafty, as we can go ahead and go for more foul plays. We will see them going for one Sky Attack here. We still have a shield left. They still have a shield left. And it's going to be coming down to the wire again, as we can go for one foul play. We're going to be able to do some nice damage still with our counter. Maybe I should have just went straight Power Punch the whole way through. I don't know, I think that would have been actually the better place. We have to go now for one foul play, KOing this one, as we see the Swampert coming in. They can KO us, but can we get to a move still in time, or can we farm this thing down with our Nidoqueen? We are not, and we lose this game. There, I think I would have won this if I just went straight for the power punch the entire time, but that's how it is. We go into the final game. We have a Bastiodon here in the lead. We see a Victory Bell coming in, which is very good for our team because you see my Nidoqueen is actually a pretty okay-ish answer against this thing because we can debuff them. We can go for 2 Poison Fangs, we can shield this move up, and most people think, okay, there's my first answer against Bastiodon. They will not have another one in the back, alright? For us, that's wrong, because we still have our Scrafty in the back, and this Bastiodon will not have a good time. As you can see here, I go straight into it, they are locked into it, they cannot swap out here, and I can just farm him all the way down as we see this Tropius coming in. My opponent decides to surrender, I think, now. And that's going to be it for the video. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video, have a great rest of your day. Bye!